Good morning and welcome back for our next lecture on DNA damage and mutations. So here is a figure of a patient who is suffering from skin cancer named xeroderma pigmentosum. In this cancer, there appears some outgrowths or freckle-like shapes on the skin of the patient. So there are several different genes which can be mutated to give rise to this disease. So if a person is without this disease, it means all those genes are working normally. Actually, those genes are involved in a particular biochemical pathway which is responsible for response to any chemical damage to DNA and repairs the DNA. So if those genes which are involved in this process of uh, response to chemical damage and repair, if those genes are mutated, it gives rise to this type of skin cancer. So there is a particular term which is called variants. I mean, there are some persons which have diseases, there are some other persons which don't have this disease. So these phenotypic differences of the people represents different variants. So we can define that those individuals that show phenotypic differences in one or more particular characters are called variants. So how these variants arise? There are basically two different mechanisms which give rise to genetic variations. One of them is mutation and the other one is recombination. So mutation is actually a process by which a gene or chromosome or a DNA sequence is changed, and it also represents the end process or end result of this process. On the other hand, recombination is actually the rearrangement. I mean, the non parental rearrangement of alleles in progeny that can result from their independent assortment or crossing over. So there is an example for this. I mean, if mutation, there are several mutations, and then those mutations are grouped in different combinations. It represents recombination. So there are several different ways to classify mutations. We can classify mutations by their effect on structure of genes or DNA or chromosomes. We can classify proteins based upon their impact on protein sequence or how they will affect the function of the protein. Similarly, we can also classify proteins based upon their effects on survival or fitness of organisms in an environment. We can also classify mutations based upon their inheritance. I mean, if they are somatics, these mutations are in somatic cells, or these mutations are in germline cells. And the last one is conditional mutations. So now on, we shall discuss all these different classifications one by one. So if we focus on classification of mutations which are based on their effect on structure of DNA or genes or chromosomes, there are two basic types. One of them is called large scale mutations and the other one is called small scale mutations. So large scale mutations are actually changes in chromosome structure. It may also represent the changes in chromosome sequences at large scale. On the other hand, in small scale mutations represents a change in few nucleotides. Sometimes, mostly it is change of single nucleotide, but sometimes it can also represent a change in multiple nucleotides. So there are several different subtypes of chromosomal mutations or chromosomal changes, which can be translocations, inversions, deletions, duplications. So here in this figure, we can see here is a chromosome and here is a wild type sequence. I mean the normal sequence. So it could face translocation, which means relocation of chromosomal part if from one position to another position. Similarly, for example, this one, you see here it is a blue and now it is a red one. Similarly, it can also involve inversion. I mean, the change of position of a particular chromosomal location, as it can be seen here. This region of the chromosome is inverted, this brown and green region. Similarly, while the chromosome can also undergo deletion, I mean a part of chromosome, here the brown part of this chromosome is deleted. On the other hand, a whole chromosome can be deleted, a complete chromosome can be deleted. Similarly, chromosome can also undergo duplication. I mean the genetic material in the chromosome is duplicated, as it can be seen for this brown part of the chromosome which is duplicated here. Similarly, duplication can also occur at whole chromosome level. I mean a whole chromosome can be duplicated, as it can be seen here. So large scale chromosomal mutations can lead to relocation of genetic material. It can lead to loss of genetic material, and it can also lead to gain of genetic material. Small scale mutations, as I have already discussed, that it represents small changes or changes of one or fewer nucleotides. So it could be classified into three subtypes based on insertion. I mean, a new nucleotide is inserted in the DNA. Deletion, obviously, the nucleotide is deleted, or substitution, which means one nucleotide is deleted and the other nucleotide is inserted at its position, as it can be seen here. So here is a normal sequence, or we can call it the wild type sequence. At this guanosine uh, guanine nucleotides, we can see there is an insertion of a single nucleotide, there is a deletion of single nucleotide, or there is a substitution when guanine is substituted with thymine. Next is how the mutations can be classified based upon their impact on protein sequence. So we can see here, it is a table which shows a wild type sequence, this one, and this wild type sequence is divided into different codons. We can see these codons can code for different amino acids. Okay, so there are transitions or transversions, simple mutations. Transitions represent when a purine nucleotide is substituted with another purine nucleotide. Similarly, transversions represent when a purine nucleotide is substituted with a pyrimidine nucleotide. So these transitions or transversions, let's see how these mutations can affect the sequence of protein. So there are subtypes of transitions or transversions. One of them is called synonymous mutations. So what are synonymous mutations? So these are the mutations that alter the genetic code, but this change in genetic code does not change the protein sequence. As we can see here, there was an adenine at codon at position 3 in the codon 3. Now it is changed with cytosine, but still the same codon is coding for the same amino acid. So alter codon specifies the same amino acid. Similarly, missense mutations. Missense mutations means there are a change in codon, and this change in codon specifies a new amino acid. But still, this new amino acid belongs to similar chemical uh, group, or it carries similar chemical features as were carried by the last one. So we can say that this lysine and arginine, they belong to basic amino acids. So there is a change in sequence. This change in sequence has changed the genetic code, and the genetic code has coded for a new amino acid. Protein sequence is changed. Okay, so missense mutations, they are a bit different. I mean, there is a change in nucleotide sequence. We can see there was guanine and now there is thymine. So this codon codes for isoleucine. So isoleucine is chemically different from lysine. I think it's aliphatic. It belongs to aliphatic amino acids. So missense mutations are those mutations which can change nucleotide sequence, and this changed nucleotide sequence will code for a new amino acid, and that new amino acid is chemically different from the old one that was arginine. Similarly, there is nonsense mutations. Nonsense mutations means if there is a change in nucleotide sequence, this change in nucleotide sequence will introduce a stop codon. So as you know that, and there is a stop codon, it will stop the transcription, and ultimately it will stop. It will stop the translation. So this we can see here. This is the normal wild type protein. This is similar protein, the changed proteins, and so this was about substitutions. We also have seen that there are two other types, insertion or deletion. So collectively, insertion and deletion is called indel mutations. So these indel mutations bring frame shift mutations. As you might have remembered, there are three different frames for translation in the proteins, and these, if there is an insertion of a nucleotide or a deletion of a nucleotide, it can change the whole frame of the protein, and ultimately we can have a completely new protein. As we can see here, the first amino acid is threonine. The other ones are completely changed for insertion and also for deletion. So mutations can also affect the function of proteins or function of genes. So there are several subtypes. One of them is loss of function mutations. Obviously, if there is a change in the nucleotide sequence, it will affect the protein, and protein will no longer perform its function. So this type of mutation is called loss of function mutation or amorphic mutation. Contrarily, there is a gain of function mutation. I mean, there is a mutation in a sequence, the sequence is changed, and this sequence can affect the function of that gene. It can be hypermorph, which means it can increase the function of that gene, hypomorph, which can decrease the function of that gene, and neomorph, which means it can give a completely new function to that gene. There is dominant negative mutation. Dominant negative mutation is also called antimorphic mutations, which means after mutation, there is a new allele, and this new allele will produce a new protein. And this new protein will affect the function of normal protein. We can also simplify that. For example, proteins work in dimers. Dimers mean two proteins unite together and then they perform function. So if one protein molecule is wild type and the other protein molecule is this dominant negative type of protein, then it will ultimately block the function of normal protein. So there are lethal mutations. I mean, if there are some mutations in the sequences, it can it can exert lethal effects on that organism, which can affect their. I mean, it could be lethal. And similarly, there are some other mutations which are called back or reverse mutations. It brings the normal phenotype back. For example, if there was normal sequence was A, for example. Sorry, it's not working well. So leave it. So if there are, for example, adenine and mutation, due to mutation, it became guanine, and then there was another mutation. That mutation brought back the adenine. So adenine, guanine, in again adenine, which means the mutation was reversed, and we have normal phenotype. Conditional mutations. Conditional mutations means there is a change in sequence, but that change in sequence comes into effect only when there are some particular conditions. For example, there are some temperature sensitive mutations. If a bacteria is, for example, going on 30 degrees centigrade, it's okay. But when this bacteria is grown at 37 degrees centigrade, that temperature sensitive mutation may become active, and it could affect, how to say, different biochemical processes of that bacteria. So next is mutations can also be classified based upon their importance for survival of the organisms or fitness of the organisms. So what is fitness? I mean, fitness is the ability of organisms to, what is happening? Ability of organisms to pass on its genetic material to its offspring, or we can also say that fitness represents the reproductive success of the organisms. So, mutations based upon the fitness could be harmful or deleterious, which means these mutations will decrease the fitness of the organisms. Contrarily, there are beneficial or advantageous mutations which can increase the fitness of the organism. And lastly, there are neutral mutations which has no harmful or beneficial effect for the organism. So last one is by inheritance. I mean, mutations could be in the germline cells, and those mutations are inherited from one generation to another generation. There are mutations in somatic cells. So somatic cell mutations can be retained and multiplied in that organism, but it cannot be inherited to its offsprings. So I think we have discussed this conditional mutations. Okay. So next is causes of mutations, how mutations arise. So I think we shall discuss these mutations or causes of mutations in our next lecture. Thank you.